Hey there, BookTube. Noah. Everyone who reads it must converse is the channel. Thanks for coming by. It's the end of our Jane Austen July, right? I had never read any Jane Austen before this month, and it was just perfect timing for doing it. I'm gonna point to Dario's video. Motley Reads is the channel. He's done a great job as far as a first take on Pride and Prejudice from somebody who's never read any Jane Austen and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that video. So I'm gonna link it, and then I'm just gonna kind of give my own thoughts and things like that, because there's been a lot of response to that. Me and my wife read Pride and Prejudice, and then last night we watched the Keira Knightley adaptation. I guess this is 2006 that this was done, and we enjoyed it, but we read it, and then we watched the adaptation for Jane Austen July. So first off, I mean, I didn't even know what to expect when it comes down to it. I didn't know what made Jane Austen a wonderful writer, what made the stories compelling, or anything like that. Didn't know the subject matter. Just I avoid all that kind of stuff because I don't like to be spoiled, to have something be spoiled for me. So I just didn't know anything. So when it comes down to it, I was very surprised at first. The writing is, as quite a few people have said, is very play-like. Like, a lot of dialogue and not a lot of description of scenes, not a lot of description of the settings that they're in. You just kind of get all that from the deep characterization that's done and from the dialogue. The father of the Bennet family, so we have a father, mother, and 5 children, 5 daughters. They're what I could see as like maybe a middle class, upper middle class family. Not very well off at all, but it's they're fine. You know what I mean? They have their means. They live within their means. And I definitely, right off the bat, related to the father of this family because I have 3 daughters. I'm the only male in my household. And just the playful way in which he, kind of messes with the girls, his wife and the girls included, is very relatable. All these characters, Jane Austen is amazing at characterization, and I get a sense that she knew, somebody like each of the characters in her personal life. She knew people like this. She was able to. She was perceptive enough to understand certain things about different people and different temperaments, and then she was able to apply that to her characters. Very, very well done. And that's the real joy of this book to me, is the awesome dialogue. I've never read dialogue on the level of this right here. The dialogue is just so well done. The back and forth, some people will be talking, Jane and Elizabeth, example, for 2 sisters talking, and very quickly, and they know each other. They can just say a little something and it means a lot. And Jane Austen does that very well. Just has these kind of conversations, these kind of back and forths that are very quick. The people are speaking very quick, and what's being said is, you get a real good sense of this sarcasm, Elizabeth is a wonderful character, isn't she? Just a very strong-willed, uh, not to say stubborn, person, but intelligent. Intelligent on a very common sense level. And they have a great sense of manners. And this was told to me before that this is a comedy of manners, and I definitely see that. The way that Elizabeth, Darcy, of course, handle themselves outwardly doesn't exactly reflect where they are in their heart or where they are inside, and they might be too polite to say something, or be too caught up in themselves, as in referring to Darcy, too caught up in themselves to communicate effectively. So I loved it when I enjoyed it. And I don't know if I'm going to read any more Jane Austen. I might. I have it all now. My wife bought just the Dover thrift editions, very cheap. She just got all of Jane Austen's published works. So I think if I go for something else, I might go for Persuasion. Just the kind of things that I've seen is kind of points me to that I might find that one more enjoyable for me personally. But feel free to leave a comment. Let me know. Just suggest. And I'll read this pretty quickly. The thing is once it got to the point where Darcy proposed to Elizabeth, maybe it was like chapter 32 or 33, which is about the halfway point. At that point, I was just like, oh no. I mean, like, is it really going down like this? And she just lets him have it, and rightfully so at that point. You're kind of on her side, And then, I mean, from then on, I was reading voraciously. I just knocked it out the rest of this book because I was so into it, so into the story, and it was so well told like that. And then on reflection, you see the misunderstandings abound. The tensions and the misunderstandings abound. I wonder if it's like that in all of Austen's work. Just that perceptive way that misunderstandings happen and that people make up their minds with limited information and all that kind of stuff. Because it's done so well. Just in, just with talking, and just in people saying what they're saying. So, the end was, of course, a great ending for what it is. But it kind of felt anti-climactic to me. I was way more into the matron, Catherine de Bourgh, when she came up to Elizabeth and was just, and Elizabeth was really holding her ground with it. I mean, I loved Elizabeth. What an amazing character. And so at that point was a lot more of a climax of a kind of, I was more into it than Darcy coming back and the end of the book. But I mean, I get that, for this story, the climax is a wedding, of course. And so 3 out of 5, 3 out of 5 of the daughters are end up married. And so, and happily ever after or something like that. Not to say, it definitely isn't as simple and, like that to say, happily ever after. But it is a love story, and it's a misunderstanding, through the weeds love story. And it was so refreshing on reflection to me to look back and see that, like, wait, Darcy, he was digging her from the start. Darcy was into Elizabeth from the start. And Darcy was, even in the second dance, the second ball that they went to, he offers to dance with her. He asked her to dance. That's him responding to the first time he met her, where she spurns him, and feels very self-righteous about it, and because he also misspoke and puts his foot in his mouth. He doesn't know that she's overhearing him, but he says some really arrogant judgmental stuff, and Elizabeth ain't having none of that. But on reflection, to see that, like, well, this is just this guy. He from the start, he's just awkward. He doesn't really know how to handle himself in a very public, very I guess less formal kind of way. Being raised with silver spoon and all that kind of thing. So I really enjoyed it. It was really cool. So yeah, leave me a comment if I really should go for another Jane Austen. There's so much to read that I don't know if I'm going to. But okay, on to the movie. That this adaptation, I mean, is just exactly what I kind of hoped it would be, and what I expect from a movie adaptation. A blistering fast run through the story where they touch all the major points, and that's just what it was. It was done well. The acting was good. Keira Knightley was amazing. Just seeing her portray this character really, gave it was cool to have a visual along with it. Even though I mean, I had my own idea in my mind as I was reading what these characters look like and things like that. But it was cool to see it adapted for the screen. Um, it's just way far lacking to the book. Of course, you couldn't hash out one of these characters to the depth that they are in this book in the whole 2 hours of the movie. You couldn't hash out not one character as deeply as it is in Pride and Prejudice. And in Pride and Prejudice in the book, they're all very deep. They're all well understood by by the time you really meet them and get into them. So it was good. We enjoyed it. Me and my wife enjoyed it. But like I said, I'm definitely not one that really enjoys a movie over a book, especially one that is done so well like this. I would just wish anybody who, if you like the movie and you haven't read the book, read the book. You know what I mean? Just read it. It's so much better. There's so much more depth to the story, so much more characterization going on, and you can't go wrong. So I appreciate the Jane Austen July. Got me into something that I would not have read before. Got my first romance novel. It definitely is all about getting married, right? I really enjoyed it. So thank you for this event. And I'll catch you on the next one, book two. Bye-bye.